What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 3 of The Goods. We are here with my really good friend Cheung from Richmond, Virginia.
What's up?
I've known G since 2006. Yeah, 7? What
year? 2007,
Okay.
yeah.
What year did you start yo-yoing?
2007, February.
Okay. Do you remember how you and I met? I have no idea. I didn't even think about this isn't in my notes.
Dang.
It must have been on
I
the
think
East
it was
Coast.
at Peanut Fest.
Because I still... Okay.
Yeah, Suffolk County.
I do remember that Peanut Fest that year.
I think 2007? 2007, yeah. Because I got started in like February of 2007.
Okay.
And then I think Peanut Fest was like...
I remember Charles
October or something.
being there.
Yeah.
Charles was there. Joey was there. Sam was
Ed
there.
was there as well.
Caitlin Anton was there. Ed Haponic was there?
I feel like he was.
I don't remember.
He was repping the Matador. Do you remember that yo-yo?
Yeah,
It's like real pointy.
The Luchador Matador.
Yeah, the Luchador, yeah.
Or what was the company called?
Throwdown. Throwdown, yeah.
Man, people...
Yeah, throwbacks.
This is really showing our age. So if you've been yo-yoing since 2007,
I have,
it'll be 2020, and so this will be your 13th
13,
anniversary.
Yeah,
Wow.
just about 13 years.
It's hella years. Let's get our drinks open because I'm gonna get cotton mouth real soon.
Same.
G is drinking on a very rare beverage tonight. A PBR hard coffee.
5% coffee by the Pabst Blue Ribbon.
5%. Just have to preface the amount, you know.
It's real light. It tastes
we're
just
American
like coffee.
men, so if you're not drinking something that has a lot of alcohol in it, then you're a wimp, right, G?
No, I'm just trying to stay awake and not get too trashed on this. That's the goal.
No. Okay.
That's the goal.
And then we have some Kit Kats to break into later that
Fire.
I'm excited about.
Absolute fire.
Yeah, imports. Paid that import tax. $8.
Get that stamp.
Yeah. We're spoiled, though, as yo-yo players, because all of our friends from other countries bring us stuff like this.
That's fair, yeah.
You've gotten a lot of good snacks from Australian friends, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Shouts out Tim Tams.
We'll talk about those more later in the podcast. Okay. So we met at Peanut Fest, I guess. That would have been like October 2007?
Yeah, something like that in the fall of 2007.
Do you remember anything about that contest? Go ahead, sorry.
I don't. I legit don't.
I don't remember
I remember
anything.
Charles getting sick like immediately upon getting to Peanut Fest.
Did he eat something whack or what happened?
No, I think he was just like dehydrated or something. We got him a couple bottles of water and he was feeling much better. So I think he might have just been dehydrated, but yeah.
Okay.
That's the only thing I really remember.
So for some reason I had this hair product that made my hair super greasy. And I had super long hair, but I was trying to make it all.
Were you using like Murray's or something?
No, I use Murray's now, but I can use it enough that I can manipulate my hair and it looks okay.
Right.
But shout out Murray's. I need to do a collab.
Yeah. One
with Murray's.
lifetime supply, man.
I mean, it's pretty cheap already. It doesn't really. I don't need the hookup. I'd rather have the affiliation. But yeah, so I just remember because I think Ed must have been there because I think that's who took these photos of me.
Yeah.
Where I'm just on stage and my hair is over my one eye and my face would break out so bad because I had so much product in my hair.
Shouts out to young Tyler.
Yeah, I was playing with an 888. It was good times.
Yeah. Were you using an 888?
At the time, yeah. I think
I thought that was
Ben sent it to me, or Ben gave it to me at Worlds or something.
True.
What were you saying?
I was saying that was before Worlds, because Worlds would have been
was
that
after
October.
Worlds.
Was it? Then I must have met you at Worlds.
Okay, I might have met at Worlds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hanging out with Drew White and
yeah.
who else? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think so. Because I was definitely at Worlds 2007. That was the year you won.
Okay. So how did you get started yo-yoing then?
Through Charles. Yeah,
Through Charles.
Yeah. So
Chuck Schuler, who's going to be a guest on the podcast eventually.
Yeah.
Inventor of the Chaz Pad, the legendary Chaz Pad. We'll talk more. We'll probably save that for Chuck's podcast because that's a pretty huge story. Yeah, that's a huge role in his yo-yo story. But anyway, so how did you meet Chuck, or how did y'all get affiliated?
So my dad ran this baseball trading card shop when I was a kid, and he still runs it to this day. But back then,
what's the name of it? Let's shout it out.
West End Sports Cards, Queoxon Road, Henrico County, Virginia.
If you're in Virginia,
yeah, shout out
West End Sports Cards. He's not Richmond, but
sports memorabilia plug.
Yeah. Wow, there you go. If you want some Mike Tyson autographed gloves, or Daryl Strawberry autographed cocaine spoon. It'll all be available at Weston Sports.
Yeah. No, for real. Authentic.
So Charles would come there and buy stuff or what?
Yeah, so like back those days, we had a lot of like Magic the Gathering players.
Okay.
And like that's actually how I met Charles, was through Magic the Gathering. So I was in, God, it must have been like 7th grade. We were like, it's like every weekend and like on the summers, like every day. We would just go to my dad's store and just play Magic the Gathering like all day, like nerds do. You know what I mean?
Super good?
I mean, none of us were like super good. We were all just really casual, you know, just like putting together 60 card decks and just like having fun with it.
That's still more, because kids play Pokemon and then are shit.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, they're just making up the rules as they go along.
Yeah, they just have hella cards. So kids that play Magic or any other card game, it's like, oh wow, you take this shit seriously.
Right. And it was like, it was cool because like most of the kids who played there were like in high school and like older, and they were like teaching me how to play. And so like I thought like it was like way cool hanging out with these older kids.
Okay, that's dope, because that normally doesn't happen until you
right. Yeah, it's like I'm in 7th grade and these dudes are like high school seniors and stuff, and like spending time. I don't know. It was cool. But yeah, so through that, like I met Charles, and then like he just started bringing the yo-yo to the store. So like when he would, you know, get killed in a match or something, you just like hang out. Well, yeah, you know, it's like tournament structure. So like when you're done with your match, like, you're just hanging out until the rest of the thing's done. So if he got knocked out, he would just be like hanging out playing yo-yo to the side.
You're like, that's tight.
Yeah, and just like eventually it got to a point where like I would get knocked out and be hanging out with him. And at first, like I clowned him for it. You know, it was just like, man, that's real lame. Like,
really?
Yeah.
Even though you're there playing Magic,
I know, right? It's like it's a pot calling the kettle black. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, yeah. So I was like, man, that's really lame. Like, what are you doing? And so he like just handed me the yo-yo. It's like, no, it's like, it's different. You can't do none of this. And so like I tried and I couldn't.
Chuck is like kind of not like egotistical in a bad way, but like if someone calls him out on something like that,
he'll check you for sure. Yeah, and I appreciate it now.
Can't do this.
Like, like I'm in
that's
it
just
now,
cool as a yo-yo player in general to have that type of confidence to tell people.
And this was like 3 months in the game. Like he had just picked up a brain or something like a month or 2 ago.
That's
so
dope.
like. Yeah, so he handed me the yo-yo. I couldn't do it, like because it wouldn't come back up. I don't remember what the yo-yo was.
Something you had to bind though.
Yeah, I think it was a metal yo-yo of some sort.
Yeah, Chuck is always on everything, man.
Yeah, whatever.
Really. So like he would have had the best.
I think he
shit
probably
at the
had like
time
a G5 or something.
A G5.
Yeah, like week or 2 into the game, he had like a G5 or something.
Hilarious. Word. Very Chuck style.
Yeah, so like I couldn't bind the yo-yo, and I was like getting frustrated because I couldn't do it, and so like I went home and bought. I think it was like a Saber Raider or something like that.
Damn,
and just
2007.
Like, yeah, no, I didn't know. You know, I just searched like bearing yo-yo, found one, bought one, and then just like tried to do it with that. And then eventually, like he just taught me like, you know, binds on his yo-yo, and that's like how I like kind of how I took off in doing yo-yos. Just like through that, like I got the bind down, and then he showed me Master Magic. Shouts out Andre. And yeah, that was basically it. Just like months and months of like learning tutorials and like practicing like Brain Twister and like Mach 5 and stuff like that.
Is that what was your first yo-yo that you bought after the Saber Raider? Do you remember?
A Yo-Yo Jam Journey.
Yo-Yo Jam Journey. That's a great yo-yo.
It was good, yeah.
Did you play with it with the O-rings in it?
I did, yeah. So are
they worn down now? Are they flush with the walls?
So I took the O-rings out after I got a little bit better and like got the bind down.
Was this after Chuck's guidance? He was
pretty much,
take them O-rings out.
Yeah, so he popped them out and got me some like red silicone pads or something like that, and the shims I remember were a big deal. Yeah, so he like made the gap all wide, and like then it played a lot better. And then I think after that I went and got a Hitman. Up in New York from Yo-Yo Nation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you actually went inside Yo-Yo Nation?
Yeah, like I joined the forum, knew Pat was like the owner of Yo-Yo Nation and like was in New York. And I had heard through the forum that like if you were in the city you could hit him up and he'd just like let you pick up orders or whatever. And so I just like hit him up and then asked him to, you know, if I could pick up a Hitman. He was like, yeah, sure, come on by. And so I did that. It was just like,
that's so
like
dope.
a couple, it was maybe like 9 months in. Just like
that's sick though, because to be exposed to like seeing all those yo-yos in your house.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Like, when people come to my crib and then they see all the yo-yos on the shelf and
just like the racks
like,
and racks of yo-yos.
It's funny because like when regular people come, like I bring a chick home or whatever, and they're like,
Yeah,
oh, that's a lot of yo-yos. Like, they don't really say much, or they're just like, oh, you said you owned a yo-yo company. That's cool. But then if you bring a yo-yo player, they're like, oh my gosh, like, this is crazy. It's
it's always like the first thing that like they always dive into.
Yeah.
So, like, let me see your collection. Let me see your case.
Were you like freaking out and you were trying to look through everything? And
yeah, well, it was like a lot of it was just like new, you know, because they didn't really know what was out there.
Right,
so just like, oh, like I know that that's a Bape. Like those are really hard
Pat's
to find.
super cool. Whoever was there would have been super cool and been like, oh, I'm showing you everything.
Yeah, he showed me all the yo-yos, let me play with everything I wanted.
Super sick, yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. It was like really cool experience too.
This was like early 2007, you said?
This was like right after Worlds, right?
It's like August 2000.
Something like that.
September 2007. Okay. And then Peanut Fest would have been after that.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like Peanut Fest was before it though. Maybe it was Peanut Fest.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because it was, I don't know.
I know it's in the, I guess it was in the fall, right? Yeah.
It was in the fall, yeah. Because, like, it was during the school year. I remember that. It wasn't during, like, the summertime. And, like, I had already gotten some Save Death shirts because the pictures were in Save Death shirts. And then, like, I had only gotten those over the summertime.
Oh, yeah,
so, like,
no, I remember now. Yeah.
I don't know. All those memories from those couple of years are, like, pretty vivid.
It's kind of a blur. Yeah.
Well, like, they blur together, but, like, specific things stand out, or at least the timeline of them, you know what I mean? I was keeping, like, I found recently all these skateboard videos I made when I was a kid.
Oh, nice.
Like, when I was, like, 10, 11 years old, like, 6 hours of footage
of
me, like, just the kind of shit I film now, like, us sticking around on yo-yo trips, but, like, us sticking around skateboarding, me and all my friends, and us actually skateboarding.
That's cool.
So it's like, damn, I need to pick through all this, but it's on VHS tape, so I had to, like, plug it into a VCR, like run it back, the high 8 tape on my camera, play it through a VCR, hit record on VCR, record it onto
use a capture card or
tape,
something.
and then if you wanted to get really fancy, I could like play it through like a Walkman or something, or like, you know, God forbid later when I got an MP3 player, get like an aux cord with like a splitter and then plug the headphone, like the audio jack from the MP3 player Walkman into the VCR, and then put your own audio over the
This is voiceover work.
Yeah. It's pretty gnarly to think about all the shit we did back like early, like this is like 2002, 2001. It's like Firewires and stuff existed, but I was like 10 years old. Like, how do I make this work?
And so YouTube wasn't that big back then either, so we couldn't.
2005 was when YouTube launched.
We couldn't even look up tutorials on how to do this stuff.
Or when the tutorials you watched probably weren't on YouTube. But
just hosted on whatever tutorial site it was.
So it was a different time. It's interesting. So that's awesome. You got to like go to see Yo-Yo Nation. And do you remember who was working there other than Pat and Weber at the time? I guess it was probably just that.
Pat, Weber, and there was Tim?
Yeah. Tim still worked there? Okay.
Yeah. I feel like that was it. I may be missing one person, but
it's all good. So what happened after that? Do you have any like cool memories from your first year of yo-yoing? Or?
I mean, like that first year was like, just like Worlds was really crazy.
Because you had, go ahead, sorry. That's sick that you went to Worlds the first year. Did you ride down with Charles, or what did you do?
So like I'd recently gotten into it, and like he was always telling me like, yo, you got to go to a yo-yo contest because it's like super sick.
Was Worlds your first contest?
It was like my first real contest.
What was that before that?
I thought it was Peanut Fest.
Oh, okay.
But then clearly Peanut Fest was after, so Worlds was my first contest.
That's awesome. Okay. That's cool. That's super cool.
Yeah, it was fucking insane.
So Chuck was driving down, or how did he get down?
We flew there.
You flew?
Yeah, we flew out. His mom.
It's funny. Go ahead.
I think his mom bought my plane ticket, and I just like paid her back something like that.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, like $300 or even whatever amount, like back then it might have been a little bit cheaper to fly to Florida.
Yeah.
Was like such an insurmountable amount of money to think of.
Same for me. Like I was like 15 or something.
Yeah. Like that. Even though like, you know, driving down still costs money. It's not like free, but you know, you're a kid, so if someone has a car, it's like basically your time is free. So like,
your time
is
driving down. Was nothing back then.
But that's sick. You got to fly down, and so you were there for 2007 Worlds.
I was, I saw Yuki kill it. I think Kentaro killed it that year too.
I think Kentaro killed it, but I'm pretty sure Hiroki won. I forget the Hiroki guy's last name, but he did like all banger tricks.
True.
And I think he used Yo-Yo Wreck Yo-Yo, the silver, half blue yo-yo. And he'd do like all the crazy 3A tricks, both of them at the same time. Yeah, he was a cool guy. It was a cool year.
Yeah, 2007 was cool.
And then Peanut Fest, and were you buying hella yo-yos at the time?
I mean, I don't
when
know
you
if I was,
could,
like,
I mean, yo-yos are expensive. So.
Yeah, I bought them when I could. Like I was working part-time at like Kroger or something, just like as a bag boy.
Yeah.
So I think like every other paycheck was like going directly to yo-yo. Just like whatever it was like.
That's
I was interested in at the time. I did a lot of like buy-sell trades on the forum too.
Yeah, you learned that very early on. It's like,
I could like just used yo-yos are way cheaper.
Yeah, and like when you're young, that's like the coolest part about going to a contest. Sometimes.
Right, swapping yo-yos and stuff.
Bring all my
carrying the suitcase of yo-yos. Yeah.
I kind of miss those days, but also now I'm like...
I can't believe I used to lug that thing around.
Yeah, exactly.
So many yo-yos.
And I'm kind of glad that like sometimes I even like forget to bring yo-yos to the contest. So I have to like play other people's yo-yos and be like, oh, what is this?
That's always a lot of fun playing new yo-yos too. Like, because I don't really have like too many people around me who buy yo-yos anymore. You know, because we're all like old and established and like crotchety.
Do you remember who you met at Worlds that year? Player wise,
met you.
Okay.
Met
who else?
Travis Owen.
Travis is sick. He's from Texas, right?
Yeah, I think he's from Texas. Matt Kolbrenner.
Matt, I saw Matt when I was out at Yo-Trix recently.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I texted him to try to get some stories about you. Or no, did I? I texted Matt Kubota.
True.
But he didn't really have any good stories. Sorry, Matt. I think I texted Kolbrenner, but he didn't respond or something. I forget.
He's a busy guy.
He is a busy guy. But anyway.
Matt. There was like, I think his name's Ross. Ross Palumbo.
Yeah, Ross from New York. Shout out Ross.
Yeah, I met him. Dang. It was like a lot of people, you know. It's just like, because you're new and you're like trying to put names and faces with like, those foreign people and stuff. So it's just like a ton of people. So I know I'm forgetting a lot of people that I just met, but I don't know.
I think everyone will forgive you.
Shouts out to all those people. Though.
Yeah, shouts out to everyone we're not going to forget, or hopefully we don't forget. So you were buying hella yo-yos or whatever you could with your minimum wage
bag boy money.
Yeah,
$6 an hour back in those days.
Yeah, I was spending I was saving all my money at the time just to go to yo-yo contests and stuff. When I was working my first job was at Mitchell's, like just running the register at the hobby store. So
I feel that.
And like I was getting yo-yos for free at the time.
True.
So
yeah, like for me, I guess I funded most of my yo-yo travel like through selling stuff on the BST.
Yeah.
It's like back in those days, you could still like flip yo-yos like pretty well.
Yeah. Because the supply was very minimal and the demand was very high.
The demand was insane.
Now it's the opposite.
It's crazy to think about. Like back in those days, you could like buy an 888, play with it for a week or two, and then like sell it for twice what you paid for it.
It's like a fancy aluminum turd now. You buy it, it's instantly worthless.
I don't know. Yo-yo market's different now.
I always want to make a video. Anytime that I see yo-yos kind of like not get popular, but like when yo-yos come out and they're cheaper, I always want to make a video and explain to people like why this is bad, because it brings down the community value of yo-yos, because it's like, oh, I only want to pay this much for it, and then whatever it resells for, I want it to be half of that.
If you keep lowering like just the normal price point, eventually higher price points won't be.
But I'm not gonna get in too much into industry politics. Hi. Zah is here.
Yo-yos back in those days, like I don't know, it's like it was almost like reselling like sneakers or like Supreme stuff, you know what I mean? Just like, it's crazy, like that hustle back in those days.
Yeah, you could sell a lot of shit. I remember when I got out of playing with freehand zeros, I sold like, 50 freehands or 60 freehands. I had the majority of my collection.
Yeah, I remember we used to carry around that like backpack full of them.
For like $1,300 or $1,400 when I was like 16. Yeah, it's like, I'm not going to play with these anymore. I'm just going to get rid of all of them. And if like, you do the math, it's like $8 a yo-yo on average or something really low. But it's like the resale, that's pretty good, because like a first base most of the time, unless it's rare and like super in demand, is not going to resell for $20 at this point.
That's true. Not to mention somebody just buying them all in one shot. Yeah. Like you don't have to like sit there and wait.
Do you remember what kind of mods you were doing at the time?
Damn. Chuck bought a lathe. Sometime in like 2008 or something.
He showed me this. I remember his lathe in his like laundry room kind of area.
In his like back room. He just like bought a lathe. So I remember like just dicking around with like.
Did you ever stay at my apartment? Drew and I talked about this in his Goods episode where I had my lathe in like the hallway upstairs in my mom's apartment.
Yeah, I do remember that.
That's funny because you must have only been yo-yoing for like a year then, and you must have come up and stayed. That's so sick. Okay.
I think I think it was either you or Chuck, but I feel like you were the one who recessed my first freehand. Because like you just had it set up and you're like, yeah, I'll do it real quick, and just like banged it out. That's
hilarious. Oh my god.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I remember one time we were at another yo-yo player's house in the Midwest, and a similar thing happened. We were at like this guy's mom like was a gynecologist and owned her own practice. He had this massive house and had like a super sick workshop and like a super nice lathe, and like I just modded like the 3 or 4 yo-yos that I had won that day, and then mad other people saw me doing it and came downstairs or like, oh, can you do mine real quick? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Like it takes 5 minutes. You know, it's literally
it's just like attaching it.
Drop
like,
of a hat, yeah. And especially like with a nicer lathe, like I had a shitty like Harbor Freight lathe, so like a lot of the times like it wouldn't be perfectly centered or like something would be off about it, and like I was 15 or 16, so like I wasn't finely tuning and calibrating my tools, but like this kid had a super nice lathe and like super quick, but like that's first time I had Aaron bend it too. He was like a shy 13-14-year-old kid and came down. So recess,
man.
Which is
recess
hilarious.
was all the rage back in those days.
Because I was only like a year and a half older than him, but I had like
you just had the lathe
stupid
experience.
clout, and the lathe experience. I was like cool when I was on a lathe, but I was like 18 months older than him. It's like
well, you'd also just come off like a world's dub, so it's like.
But yeah, I love modding yo-yos. What did Chuck do to your yo-yos?
I remember we had like hyper warp heavy wing like weight rings that we like dropped into something. I don't remember what it was, but it was just like a bunch of weird
side or
just something like that. Okay. Yeah, just a bunch of weird amalgamations of stuff. We tried to like cut a Lin Fury down and put a dark magic ring on the outside. That didn't work.
Dude, cutting down Cellcon yo-yos was so sick because the way the shavings come off versus like a freehand or something, it just melts. But like,
no, it would come off in like one long pencil.
Yeah, I used to like win those yo-yos and then literally just shave them down all the way, like embarrassingly, just because it was like ASMR, like satisfying. Right. My mom would freak out and be like, "Why the fuck is there plastic all over the hallway?"
Don't ask, Mom.
All in my hair. I'm not showering before school. Going to school, plastic in my hair. So you guys are doing crazy mods. Yeah, you were really in the thick of yo-yoing then.
I know, it was crazy. Like to think how.
I'm glad I asked you about all this because I didn't even take notes about this. I was like, you started yo-yoing early on, and I think
it was crazy how quickly I got accepted into like the fold of yo-yoing.
But you're like a very genuine guy. It's easy. I kind of want to make a video about this too because it's so like there's an authenticity that comes along with yo-yoing. Eves and I were just talking about this. Where when people kind of are fraudulent and super sus, you can feel it out, and it's like, I don't want to chill with this guy.
True.
But like, if there's been people that literally have been yo-yoing for like 2 or 3 months. The first time I ever met Ben Boulos, like 2 or 3 sentences into talking to him, I was like, this guy's cool. Like, I don't need to hang out with him or like, it's just game recognized game, But there's people that like, I'm not going to say their name or anything, but like people that still are in our crew that we hang out with that I'll be like, I do not like chilling with this dude or whoever, but like I guess it's just gonna go down that way because they're in the crew, and like I don't know, there's like a vibe that people put out, and I don't know, it's weird because you want someone to be confident enough to approach the group and be able to just interject and make jokes and be comfortable, but then if it's too comfortable or they're too jokey or something, it's like
habitual line steppers.
Think he is. What'd you say?
Habitual line steppers, man.
Habitual line steppers. That's true, yeah. So what was your next crucial yo-yo memory after that?
So it's like 2008, I guess. International Yo-Yo Open.
Was it in New York?
Yeah.
Did you go to Worlds in 2008?
I don't think I did.
You didn't?
Yeah. No. So it was either.
That was a great year.
Yeah. I could have gone to one or the other, and I was like, I've been to Worlds, so I want to go to the New York one.
Okay.
Weird logic, looking back, but like, I don't know. It was cool. Like, I really loved New York City. I used to go there all the time when I was a kid, like twice a year just to see my grandma. And like, I still make an effort to like head up at least like once a year just to eat food.
Did you go up alone, and did your parents go with you, or?
I took a bus. I took a bus with Chuck. Okay. We stayed at...
I'm always super curious because like yo-yo kids like develop so early in that way where they're like, all right, mom and dad, I'm going to take off and go halfway across the country for this thing with a bunch of people you don't know.
That didn't start happening for me until like 2009 where I went to like MAR and just like didn't tell them I was going to Delaware.
Well, it's not super far away. So where did you and Chuck stay in 2008?
Stayed at his like mom's friend's place up in like
in New York.
It was like super north of Manhattan. Like kind of a sketchy area.
North. Okay.
Yeah, like it was a pretty sketchy train ride.
2007 New York could still be gnarly in some ways. Like,
yeah, I mean, I was too young to really recognize any of it.
But like I remember hanging out in Union Square with a bunch of people, like hella yo-yo players, like super late, like till 2 or 3 in the morning, and just like watching people fight, like watching homeless people like fight, break bottles everywhere, and like cops are everywhere just laughing, and it's like New York City's kind of gnarly.
Even
though it was like significantly safer than it was like in the 90s or 80s even, it was like, damn, like now it's pretty much fine everywhere.
Yeah, it's pretty chill now.
Yeah, at the time, like, you can still see some shit.
No, it's like I remember walking around, and I think it was like Brian Koski was in the group. So we were like walking around the city, and just like some guy with like an ankle monitor tried to sell Brian Koski some weed that looked like oregano in an Altoids tin. Super sketchy, but it was like one of my first like encounters with like drugs and like
at a yo-yo contest or in general. Yeah.
Well, yeah, just like in general, it was still pretty young at the time. It was just
New York was a different place 13 years ago or 12 years ago.
Super rough.
So after that, it's 2009. Anything else happened the rest of 2008?
2008.
The East Coast scene wasn't as developed as it is now, where there's contests happening constantly and stuff.
That was pretty much it for 2008. I think 2009 was the year I went to my first like Massachusetts dates.
Okay.
It was either that or 2010. I don't know. It's all spaced out now. But yeah, Massachusetts dates, and I think that's where I first competed like with any sort of like seriousness.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I actually like tried to put together a freestyle, tried to like choreograph, to music and stuff like that. And I did pretty poorly. I think I got like 20th or something like that out of like not very many more
That's still good. There's like the first one is always not going to be great, so it's good just to get on stage and get over it.
The hardest part I think to get over with that first one was just like the shaking hands.
Yeah,
I was just like super nervous.
When you do bad early on, it's kind of like motivating in a way because you can gauge like, okay, this contest I got 20th, and the next one you got like probably whatever 18th.
Right.
17th.
Well, after that contest, is like it really motivated me to like start trying and getting better.
That's awesome.
And so like it was also roughly around the time that Sam Scott moved to Richmond. And so like for a couple years, it's like me, Sam, and Charles were just hanging out at Sam's apartment in Jackson Ward, just like playing yo-yo like 3 times a week.
And when did this start? 2009?
Like 2009, 2000, or no, it must have been 2010.
Okay.
Because it was like right after I graduated.
Yeah, that was the one thing I think Sam mentioned that we should talk about was he said, well, one note says Sam Scott's story. Ask G about the time G, Joe, Alex, and myself rolled up on Chatroulette at Andre's.
Oh, damn.
On Andre's MacBook Pro.
Yeah, dude, that was actually the MA states I was talking about.
What year was this? 2010?
2010, yeah. Okay. It was like me, Sam, AJ's girlfriend at the time, and Joe Wilson, all packed into AJ's like Ford Focus, like 6 of us in a Ford Focus.
And then drove. And it's a 4-hour drive from Richmond to AJ's house.
4 hours from Richmond to AJ's.
And then another 4 hours from AJ's to Mass States.
Yeah, something like that.
So it's a long trip.
So like 6 of us crammed into the back of or 4 of us crammed into the back seat of a Focus for like 4 hours. So yeah, we did that. And we stayed at...
It's a long trip. And then you stayed at Andre's at the time.
Yeah, we stayed at Andre's.
And Andre still had like a smaller apartment, I'm guessing, at the time.
It was still a smaller spot.
The yo-yo expert estate.
Expert money. So that's back when he still had his humble apartment. And I remember there was like...
Good times in that apartment. Yeah, I stayed in that apartment several times also. Yeah. So.
There was a cat there that like... Joe's like super allergic to cats.
Man. Yeah.
And so like Joe built like a fort around himself out of chairs so that like the cat wouldn't fuck with him. And I remember waking up the next morning and like the cat is literally just sitting right next to Joe's head.
Oh god, he's probably so swollen and like,
yeah, he's just like super puffy and yeah,
that's kind of funny.
It sucked at the time, I'm sure, but like in retrospect, it was fucking hysterical. But yeah, so like we're just like on Chatroulette. I think it was like this is back in its like heyday. You know what I mean? Everybody's on Chatroulette.
Yeah. If you don't know what Chatroulette is, I would not suggest looking it up. Anyone.
Yeah, it was.
But it's basically like a online chat,
like online video chat with strangers.
With strangers, and the roulette part comes in where when you select auto, it will just like randomly.
Just randomly pairs you up with
a new partner on your video chat, so you get a new person to chat with. But it was fun for a period to go on.
You always just like run into like random stuff. And, like,
so what's the funny story from Andre's house, or was it just sure a lot?
Just, like,
what was like the best one? All from that
so
night?
Like there was this one guy who like it was a chick. She was high, like super high on marijuana, right? Just like smoked out. Sitting there like on Chatroulette listening to reggae and like her eyes are puffy and it's like very obviously like she's high.
She's got a Bob Marley tapestry on the back of her wall.
It's very like, like movie stoner high. And then we're just like talking and like I think it was Sam was like, yo, look out behind you. She like turns and freaks the fuck out and hits next on us.
Oh my gosh, Sam.
Yeah, there's like one where like AJ's just holding his like shirt open, like showing his like pierced puffy nipples. And just like just like showing
rest in
his,
peace, AJ Kerr.
Yeah, rest in peace, AJ, man. Yeah, he's just like showing people like the pepperoni nips is what he would call them. There was like a group of like French girls, I think, that were like shocked because they thought we all lived together, and they're like, "That's such diversity in this house." Because it was like at the time, it was like,
Joe, black guy, Chinese
the black guy is a Chinese
guy.
Ginger and then random white dude. Yeah, it was like,
who's the ginger?
Alex Kerr.
Oh, Alex Kerr was there. Okay,
it was like funny assortment of like group.
Dude, that is fucking hysterical.
Yeah.
Dude, Chatroulette was the shit for a minute.
It really was, yeah.
Did you guys ever do anything like so? Well, I guess that's like the funny thing that happened at Andre's house when you guys were younger.
Like the idea was to like try to like do yo-yo tricks on Chatroulette and see if it was like we could get like people interested or whatever. But like it really just evolved into like AJ screaming "tits or die" into the computer and shit like that.
It's very 2010.
Throwbacks to when memes were simple.
Throwbacks to when memes were simple. So that's 2010, you said?
Mm-hmm.
That was the one story that Sam had for me. I'm gonna delete it now off my list so I don't ask you again about it. That's a great one. I'm glad that came up. So this is 2010, and then that was Mass States.
Yeah. So like this is when we're like yo-yoing a ton. Like me, Chuck, Sam. Just before like our first nationals. First nationals in like 2011.
Yeah, so that was another thing I think Sam brought up was like his Buckhead apartment. Let me read Sam's text real quick. Go ahead. So it's around
like 2011 nationals. 2011 nationals.
Okay.
Yeah. So like between that time was when I was like really, really serious about yo-yo.
Yeah.
Like trying to like.
Sam thinks it's 2011 Nats when your tricks took off and you were practicing for Nats and then you finaled that year.
Yeah, that's it.
So 2011.
2011, yeah. Okay. So like I guess I was like, oh, Nats is like late in the year.
Yeah, it's always late in the year.
It's like in October or whatever back then. So yeah, I guess like 2011, I won like 2 state contests that
That's
year.
awesome though. Any little dub helps you a lot.
Yeah, no, it was like, I mean, like in the grand scheme of things, like a state contest W is like pretty small beans, but like
not many people can say they won a yo-yo contest.
Right, like it did massive for my ego.
Oh
like,
yeah, for
huge
sure.
For the ego,
and it's not your ego; it's just like your personal sense of like standing in the community because you're like, oh, like people know I take this shit serious now.
After the first contest I won, like the shaking stopped. You know what I mean? Like awesome. It just becomes like you get like that stage confidence. I think after you get your first win.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I won like 2 contests that year.
And then it definitely helps you for like an indefinite amount of time after that with judges because they remember like, oh, you won Tennessee States.
Yeah, there's that like previous win bias.
You were talking about this earlier, but you think it was Tennessee States and then maybe Georgia States you won, maybe?
Something like that, yeah. It was like Tennessee or like North Carolina.
Those contests are always cool because there was like...
Always real low-key, but like with like 1 or 2 random like
low-key,
turnouts.
like good turnout though. Like a lot of players would show out. But I meant more so like one year I know like Adam Brewster won Georgia State's, then another year like you won, and then another year Tennessee State's like maybe what's his name, the Ian guy from North Carolina, I forget.
Yeah, Ian Clark.
Yeah, maybe Ian Clark would have won or something. So like you know, I don't mind when it's the same player over and over again, but it is cool when it's kind of like, oh, who's gonna win this year? Or like,
right. Well, that was a lot of fun too. Yeah. Like in those days when it was like anyone's game.
Yeah, I feel like all the contest series kind of snowball into one another. So the state contests, or it's supposed to work that or lead into a regional. So then when you're paying attention closely to the standings, you're like, okay, so this person did here in the state, and then you watch them at the regional, like, oh, they placed in the regional, and then like, and then if they get better by nationals, like, oh, it could be anybody's game or whatever. So 2010, like, you're practicing hardcore. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, like 2010, 2011, practicing hardcore, and like even that year, like the only thing I wanted to do in nationals was just make finals. Like I had no. Like
in 2010, this is
2011.
2011.
That was the only year, or the first year I went to nationals. Shouts out Werrd for flying me out that year.
Awesome. But, okay. We'll have to go back and touch on Werrd, but go ahead about 2011 nationals.
Yeah, like all I wanted to do was make finals,
which is
like,
another huge motivator when you get that new sponsor, and it's like, okay, I definitely want to show them that I take this shit seriously. Yeah, I appreciate them.
It was probably to my detriment because like I didn't even think that I'd like make finals, and so all I practiced was my 1 minute. Like didn't even really have like a plan for a 3 minute.
But when you're a fresh player, if you just make finals at a big event like that, it's
I was just so stoked to be taking home a medal. You know,
that's sick.
Like, yeah,
that's awesome. So, yeah, and we've talked about this. We harp on this really every episode. I feel like of how it's so important for yo-yo players to have other yo-yo players to like maybe not even bounce ideas off of, but someone to almost hold you accountable. And it's not in the, you know, John Robb will do this, but not many other players like, yo, we got to get better. Like, why aren't we like stepping our game up or something? A lot of people are just in it for fun, but like Sam took it pretty seriously. And like, I think his around the time he was trying to make bigger moves. So like that motivates you.
He was pushing for his national title. Then,
and you're like, okay, I want to get better now. I'm like watching someone else get better.
So, yeah, like just having somebody there that's like really determined to like do better, like helps you to just like, all right, well, I want to, you know, like keep up with the homies.
Yeah. So then, did you final in 2011?
I did. Yeah, I placed like last, but like
that's sick.
I just still made
like
it to finals,
in making finals. You placed like bubble in order to get to finals, or you mean in the finals you placed like?
I think I was last in the finals, and then I was last in. Like
fuck it, dog.
But like, I got the hardware, you know.
Right?
Just sitting in a shadow box, like I got.
It's like something that not a lot of yo-yo players can say. So it's like really sick, and not that like.
And like in retrospect, I wish I had like practiced the 3 minute and like figured something out just in case I had made it through.
But you never think about that stuff. At the time,
like at the time, like I had never won anything more than just like a state contest. Like
and yo-yoing used to not be what it is now, where everything's so attainable.
Yeah,
it was like making that nationals finals, like you said, was like this huge, grandiose goal that you didn't even bother practicing for 3 minutes. So like again, it wasn't like now where most people are like, if you practice, you can feasibly. Things change. Like every artistic medium changes to where like you used to look at the people who are accomplishing the pinnacle of these forms of artistry, and you would watch them and be like, I could never do that. And then you slowly develop your own style, which is what you did at the time. And now, because everything, and it's like, you know, the internet is an equalizer and everyone instantly has access to everything. So you look at what is getting popular, what's popping right now, and you're like, oh, I could do that. Which is why like all the easy shit floats to the top, and it's like everyone's freestyle looks the same. Everyone's using the same music.
Yeah, and I was gonna say like the freestyles back in those days felt a lot less like formulaic. Like there wasn't like the same. Well, I mean, obviously there was the same like set of tricks that everybody was doing, but like it felt less like meted out. You know what I mean? 2011
was like a new school revival too, where like, well, I don't want to say new school, like post old school revival, like where early 2000s Spin Doctor Sector Y stuff was getting a little too tech for no reason. And then like 2005 Mickey, 2006, like a lot of people got super tech for no reason. And it's once yo-yoing loses that appeal where people are yo-yoing in a smart manner and actually thinking about how they're formulating their tricks, it like this content suffers and the tricks suffer, and then it's, you know, you have to look for good stuff now. Whereas like when you were placing in not placing in nationals, when you were finaling in nationals and winning these contests, everyone's freestyles were so original, and it was like the top 5 would have been like every single person yo-yoed completely different.
Yeah, there was like a lot of distinction back in those days,
right,
like
exactly.
between like the different players. Yeah, for sure.
Harold, the Gentry, to whoever got 3rd or whatever would have been 3 completely different styles.
Right,
like,
and I think like regional differences were bigger back in those days
absolutely,
too, before like Trick Circle and like things like that took off.
For sure. And just like you said, where you and Sam and who else was hanging out at his, what's the name of the apartment complex?
In Jackson Ward.
Jackson Ward. The Jackson Ward apartment, the trap house.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like it was like me, Sam, and Chuck, like Alex Kerfman and like Will McHugh would stop by from time to time.
Yeah, and like y'all kind of yo-yo, not alike, but like you can tell everyone would learn the same shit, or like
like we definitely like pass stuff around and like
the regional style that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's super, super sick. All right. So the 2011 nationals, you final. I don't know what you placed. We'll like look it
16
up.
Out of 16 or something like that.
Whatever, man. Like you said, the hardware is sick. Like it's something that not a lot of yo-yo players can say, and even with players who never place that high, I mean, I encourage everyone now. It's funny when players are super stuck on like, am I ever going to place or am I ever going to final? It's like you're focusing on the wrong things right now.
Just trying to make a good show, man. Just like do your best.
Or when people are like, I really want to get sponsored, and I'm like, do you know anyone who owns a yo-yo company and hooks you up even in the slightest?
Right.
Cool. You're getting most of the benefits that most people are
getting. You're 95%
like,
of the way there.
That's super sick. Like you said, Werrd flew you out to nationals in 2011.
Yeah, well, like
the team was a little bit smaller, but
it was
still
much smaller back then.
And you won 2 contests that year, so it's like
I was like riding high, and
at
like
the time that meant different things. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was like, oh, like this guy's. It's not like it was an open playing field. It wasn't like, oh, G might win nationals.
Right. No, there's no question that I was winning nationals.
But it was definitely like still.
Yeah.
It was
like the way I proposed it to Stu, I was like, I'm the only one on the team who is interested in trying to make finals at this point. Like, and so it was like, all right, cool, we'll send you out.
But now kids just expect that. They're like, I make one Trick Circle post a month. Like that should keep me current, right?
I think it's funny that I'm, partially guilty. I'm pretty guilty of this too. But like once you get sponsored, like your drive to like put out content like kind of dips off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's dependent upon how your sponsor interacts with you and stuff. That happens to everyone. The same thing happened with me at Yo-Yo Factory when I first started. You know what I mean?
I'm just lazy, if I'm being honest. Sorry to Randy and like the boys, but yeah, I just
and the boys. Yo-yoing is a hard medium to really. And like everyone who yo-yos is creative and they want it to be the best that it can be. So it's hard to film it on your own.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So that's the first line of excuses that you have. And then you have someone who can help you film and they don't know exactly how to film, or like you have a vision to make it look a certain way and that person definitely can't film it to look how you want it to look.
Yeah, there's all these variables.
Yeah, it's crazy because I put a lot of work. I mean, people probably don't watch my videos and they're like, wow, these take so much work. Because they don't. It's not like I'm Steven Spielberg. But it's like I'm putting in a lot of work into shooting videos.
It's a lot of effort. Yeah, it's a lot of behind-the-scene effort.
Trying to make other people look good.
Yeah.
And then when I ask those same people to like turn around and film me, they're just like, all right, go. And you're like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, can you just pan from left to right on this repeater real quick that I'm going to hit first try?
Right. Almost have to like storyboard it for them.
Exactly, yeah. I was filming some skateboarding. You know Brandon Napper, right?
I do, yeah.
We were filming some skateboarding stuff, and he was giving me so much direction, and he would like apologize and be like, my bad, dog. Like, I don't want to like make you feel uncomfortable. I'm like, no, dude, like, please, thank you for like giving me all this direction, because like you're telling me exactly how you want it to look. And like
working together to make
and the footage you cut together looks amazing. And I'm like, dude, it only looks as good because of what you suggested.
Right,
It's like, it's crazy. So but so you got flown out. So when did you start hanging out with Werrd dudes? So your first Worlds is 2008 Worlds.
2008, yeah.
And did Werrd have a booth that year?
Or no, my first one was 2007.
2007,
yes, I think they did have a booth.
I'm pretty sure they did a booth then.
Yeah. They were like rocking the TFL with like the 2 bearings.
Yeah, that was their like kind of first year, right?
Yeah, something like that. Something like that.
That was like their first year, yeah. You're right.
So I was like chilling at the table. Got to know Skip. Yeah, Skip.
Skip from Australia. Shout out Skip.
Shouts out Skip.
And
Vu, Kali.
Shouts out Kali.
Cookie, I think his name was.
Cookie.
I forget his like.
Is he an older guy?
Yeah, like Anthony.
Was he the
used to go by Cookie.
guy that made the cookie response in the old Fat Yo Australian yo-yos?
That's
some. I would say that's some deep yo-yo knowledge for you. Not really.
I don't know
deep,
nothing about Fat Yos.
Yeah, okay. That was an old Australian brand that I'm sure, like, you know, there wasn't
was Stu behind that one too?
No, I don't think so. He might have been like a consultant for the company that made them or whatever. But the response system they had is pretty ahead of its time. It was like molded silicone rings, but like on one side there was like these weird recessed starburst things. They looked like a bearing cage, like, you know, the cages that hold the balls and the bearing. It looked like that, and it was recessed, so like your strings wouldn't come into contact with it until you went to bind it.
Oh, interesting.
But then like if you flipped it over, or like maybe if you tugged it up, it might catch onto it a little bit. So it was kind of like recessed starburst. If you flipped it over, it was just a flat rubber pad, and it was like, damn, like this is pretty good.
Way ahead of its time.
It was very ahead of its time, yeah. But it was like the yo-yo was shit. But the yo-yo also had, one of them had like, it was plastic, but it had a plastic weight ring in it, kind of like Yo-Yo Jam yo-yos, but it was internal, like buzz-on ring almost. Sure. So it's very interesting yo-yo. I bet that Cookie dude had something to do with it though, especially if he was like kind of older. Was he the heavier set guy?
Yeah, like kind of larger Asian dude.
Was he Asian? Was he like half Asian?
It's like Anthony
maybe?
Jong or something like that.
I don't know.
I don't remember. This is so long ago.
Yeah. Damn.
So yeah, I was like kicking it with all of them.
2007.
2007. Yeah.
So you're like kind of sowing the roots early, and then like making faces with everyone.
Yeah, just like like learning like names with faces, like I was saying.
And at the time, you were probably just stoked that like, oh, someone's showing me love, but you weren't like thinking like, oh, I'm probably gonna get on this team or anything.
No, nothing like that. Yeah, just Skip was like real nice to me. Is all it was.
That's sick.
Yeah.
I love asking not older yo-yo players, but like last generation yo-yo players these types of stories. Because kids now are so like, they play with someone's yo-yo for 2 weeks and post a trick circle, and they're like, yo, like when can I get a package? Like when can I get it? And you're like, what kind of loyalty is this? And then so like 2007, you meet them, and you're like, did you buy any of the yo-yos that
I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie, like until like 2009, like I was like, all right, look, I kind of want to get on Werrd now. You know,
but that's still like 2 years of you not fanboying, but you're like, okay, like these are my friends.
Like I was chilling with the
I'm
homies.
here. Like exactly.
Like Randy was on there.
And it like eventually just made sense to be like, yo, G's like really good now.
Like they were all standing for me on the team. And then I think it was like right before Georgia State's.
Okay.
Is when I
got
like
2009, you said?
Or
2010 maybe?
2010, something like that. Yeah, 2010 I got on. And then that Georgia State's was the first contest that I went to wearing like the Werrd shirt.
And you won? Yeah. That's so sick.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Mark Mangarin did a similar thing when he switched from Yo-Yo Factory to Caribou Lodge. He won like his first contest. It was like, God damn it. Yeah. It was funny.
Yeah.
That's super sick. And I'm sure Stu was hella happy. Like, oh, wow, this kid we just added to the team. He's winning already.
He was really excited.
And like, And I mean, at the time, you didn't need help to sell any metal yo-yos, especially ones that were good.
Yeah, like, we had like really like cool stuff too. Like the split decision was pretty tight. That was like selling.
Was that out at the time, or
it was like in its infancy? Yeah, I was using one on stage.
That's super sick. Do you remember what song you used at Georgia State that year, or what kind of music you were freestyling to at the time?
I think it was like Flume.
Flume?
It might have been like Passion Pit. Or, like I remember I used like
Indie
Passion
pop
Pit and Flume a lot. Yeah,
that's sick. That was the time when all that stuff was like really bubbling. And super
like
hot.
It was like kind of around time when like dubstep was like just about to take off, and like I just didn't really, I couldn't yo-yo fast enough to keep up with dubstep, I think is what it was. So I was just like, I'm gonna take it a step down.
A lot of kids should take that advice now.
Like dude, stick to your skill level. If you can't yo-yo super fast, don't yo-yo to super fast music.
Word. So we got on Werrd, Georgia State's 2010. Right?
Yeah, 2010, 2011.
Okay, 2010,
like it's all a blur.
Well, this is kind of like the first. I think it might have been 2011 because you're kind of talking about the first year you won Tennessee State's, Georgia State's, then you finally nationals.
Yeah. So
this is all probably 2011, and then at the Jackson apartments?
Jackson Ward. Jackson Ward's the neighborhood. He was in like Eco Flats or something. That's where I live now.
At Jackson Ward.
So shouts out Jackson Ward. It's a historically black neighborhood.
But your curb is dope. It's not hood.
Yeah.
I love your house.
Thank you.
It's not as bad as where I live.
It's fucking real out here, man. Philly is a rough city.
No, I love Philly. My neighborhood is just, like you said, it's real. It's not, I wouldn't say it is rough, but it's not, I haven't been accosted.
That's fair.
No one's robbed me. No one's broken any of my car windows.
I haven't encountered crime yet.
Yeah, we're good. We're living out here. Living in the city.
Don't fuck with them, they won't fuck with you.
You don't fuck with me, I'll fuck with you. All right, so what happens next? We talked about, so you get on Werrd, Stu's psyched, you're getting along with the team and everything, everyone's stoked, and then, like, Werrd had a strong presence every year at Worlds, and then every year they started to have, like, cooler and cooler booths where Stu would kind of build the booth
more and more elaborate, for sure, yeah. There was, like, I think the first year we had, like, energy drinks that were branded by Werrd.
That's so sick. What year was that? 2009, 2010?
2009 or 10, yeah. And then there was, like, an arcade setup the next year. And, it was getting
It was all very ahead of its time.
Yeah, they were really cool booths.
Which is funny, because, like, thinking back, he didn't release a ton of yo-yos. Werrd didn't, you know what I mean? They did, like, but not...
For the length of time that we were, like, around and like making yo-yos, we didn't put out that many.
I guess that's more
models.
so what I'm thinking. Yeah. And the last 2 years were like super spaced out, but initially, like you were saying, those there first was like couple of years were the
first few years are dispersed, and then there was like a big push for like 2 or 3 years. We were like putting out a ton of new models, and then like after that, it just kind of like dwindled.
Word. But and so in that time, you were on the same team with Bergie. Kai.
I wasn't on with Bergie.
No? Bergie had already quit by the time you got on?
Just left before I got on.
Okay. Yeah. But still, Kai, who else? Let me look at my list.
Kai was
Werrd had a sick team.
Yeah, like we had Nate Sutter for a second.
Nate Sutter was on Werrd? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Ed Haponic.
Was that like right when they were kind of going...
He was on Spy. He's on Core Co now. That's why I was thinking about it. Because Core Co was like really weirdly Werrd 2.0.
Werrd 2.0, yeah. Yeah, Kai, not Bergie though, but Kai.
Kai was on there. Like Randy, Logan, Ori.
Who?
Uri? No, Uri wasn't on there. Stephen Kinder was.
Uri.
Yeah, it was a big squad. A lot of people.
It's dope, yeah. And it wasn't like... Now things are so spread out, there's only like 1 or 2 heavy hitters on each team. But back then it was like every team, even when they were bigger like that, because it was still kind of hard to get on a team. You had to try, like you had to be good. So like the Werrd team was really good. Like you had, and there was 3A players, and there were like 3A players like Kerfman and...
most of us weren't like very competitive either. Like by and large, like we were just like community, like...
Which was another change from the other teams because Yo-Yo Jam...
Yo-Yo Jam super competitive. I remember, like at the time it was like Yo-Yo Factory and Caribou Lodge were like the 2 companies that were like really sponsoring like the big competitors.
And they had players like you who were a little bit competitive, Werrd, and Kai was a little competitive, but they weren't like...
We're not like world national level.
Contest, but like, still doing well and like showing
we can hold our own.
Like, Well, that's dope to like kind of be shifting community opinion, and like you said, and
no, I mean being on Werrd was great. Like I loved being on Werrd. You know, all the people were great. Like it felt like a little family every year I went to Worlds. With like Mark Allen's wife like taking care of us and stuff like that. Like it was great.
What did she do? She make sandwiches?
Yeah, she'd like bring water bottles and make sure we were all hydrated and like sleeping okay. And
Is everyone good?
Yeah, she's like, you guys have some like vitamin C, like
that's hilarious.
What is it called? Like the emergency. Yeah, she'd like bring emergency for us just in case. And
it's freezing in the hotel. It's like 60 degrees.
Yeah, she's just like, you guys need to take care of yourselves.
Everyone walks outside, sweats to death, walk back inside, you're freezing to death.
Like, Orlando was a miserable city.
Yeah, I'm glad that it's no longer there. But so next yo-yo memory, your 2012. Fast forward, did you focus hard on Worlds again and nationals?
No, like so after 2011 is really when I dropped off of like yo-yoing like pretty hard.
Did you come to contests after that?
I did. I mean, I was still going to contests. Like I just wasn't like yo-yoing very much like at home. You know what I mean? Like I was in college, like doing that thing. I was dating this girl, taking up a lot of time. It was just like yo-yoing kind of like took a back seat for a little bit.
Yeah, once you get older, it's hard to justify it and like...
I just wanted to like hang out with friends.
It's a big... you wanted to hang out with friends and not worry about the keeping up with the yo-yo community Joneses.
Stay at home every weekend, like trying to practice a freestyle and things like that.
And once you hit that level of like, all right, I'm on a team and like I'm not... I was holding you accountable.
I will say like, I got complacent for sure, and I just like stopped getting hungry for like...
And there's like a weird pressure though. It's not like now where you can just kind of be casual and still maintain a presence within the community.
Right. Yeah. And Trick Circles like really changed that a lot.
Yeah. If you're good now, like obviously people recognize you. But back then you had to maintain a presence or else people were gonna forget you existed.
Yeah. So. And back then, like the only way to maintain presence was to like do the long format, like maximum effort videos, you know?
Yeah. But you need a person to help you with.
And like you like editing, like picking a song and all that. Like
so what I'm trying to think of the next thing for you because at the same time, Werrd was slowing down. I feel like 2012
starting to like slow down a little bit. Losing momentum for sure.
Yeah, and like you said, 2011, 2010, they were making like really big pushes and putting out a ton of shit.
There was like 3-4 new models every year.
Stu, the guy who ran it, was kind of just, didn't have time to run it. He had a family.
Werrd was always like a passion project for him. Right, like labor of love type deal.
And I'm sure like when Randy helped with designs and like it gave him a little more motivation to be like, oh wow, cool. Like someone else is doing a little more work. And like
there was like this one season where Randy was like in Australia like drawing yo-yos. And
what? Randy went to Australia?
Yeah.
That's like, I never knew that.
He was like staying with, I think it was Vu. I don't remember.
Damn, I'll have to come down to Atlanta and film Randy sometime.
Yeah, that would be a super interesting one. He's been yo-yoing for longer than like most of us.
He has, yeah.
What is this? But yeah, I mean, Worlds was like Werrd's always like their biggest showcase. You know what I mean? Like every year for like 3 years.
Most brands because social media didn't exist like it was now. So like you had to make that showing at Worlds. Or
releases were all time for Worlds and stuff.
Yeah. So those first couple years with Worlds and Werrd, like 2009, you were just hanging out and they were doing like little things, and like obviously their booth was a little bit cooler than average in the other booths, but they had like a cool yo-yo too to go along with it. And then fast forward like 2010, their booth probably got a little cooler.
Yeah, just like year after year, they kind of kept building on their like really elaborate booth setup.
Yeah.
I remember one year they brought a toaster. And they were just like making toast and like spreading Vegemite on it so that people could try Vegemite.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and they were like filming reactions to that with a GoPro and stuff.
Damn. Yeah. That's like prototype YouTube stuff. I mean, I'm sure people were doing it at the time, but still, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool stuff.
And
I don't know whatever happened to that footage.
Yeah. But it's cool that how you like not only being loyal to the brand, like, you saw it grow every year and everything. So
yeah, it was a lot of fun to just like keep up with them and like know that every year at Worlds they're gonna come with some like new cool stuff to like play with.
Yeah, and, something to look forward to. And that was definitely like Werrd would do little things throughout the year, but then Worlds would come and then Werrd would have like 3 new yo-yos. Then the yo-yos they released that year had 3 new special editions of each one that was dropping on this day and that day and that day. And like Stu really did it up.
Yeah, he always had a very elaborate plan for Worlds, for sure.
And then
like after that, like they started slowing down in like 2012, 2013.
Right, like we talked about earlier. Yeah. Stu has 2 kids and another
2 kids, like full-time job doing like shipping and receiving type stuff. So he's just like
like running a huge operation.
Right, yeah,
he's like in a warehouse. Yeah, he's doing stuff.
Yeah, he's doing some big stuff, bigger than just like
bigger than yo-yo stuff. Yeah, exactly.
And so he just like kind of disappeared, hard to get a hold of, like hard to get updates. But at the time, like up until like 2016, I was still on Werrd. Like
up until 2016.
Yeah, because like I mean, I wasn't really doing much in the way of yo-yos, anyways.
Would Randy get like yo-yos from Stu or something, or was he making them?
Nah, dude, nobody was getting yo-yos at the time.
Oh
like,
damn! Everyone was still on the team.
Yeah, like only the people in Australia really.
See how loyal these Werrd guys are.
Yeah, like I mean, so like every now and again,
Kai even won.
He did that Las Vegas thing. He won with Werrd stuff, right?
With the duality, or what's it called?
With the bad decision, indecision, some sort of decision.
The one with the Delrin rim.
Yeah, the changeable rims.
It's so crazy to me.
Damn, these are fucking delicious.
Green tea Kit Kats. They had a lot of other flavors in the Chinatown store that we went to. Yeah. But
American
they were so expensive. These were like appropriate. I mean, they're still really expensive. In Japan, these are like $4. They're double, $8 here. They had another kind that was like strawberry almond or whatever. Those were like $12 though. I was like, I can't spend $12 on a bunch of mini Kit Kats. So wow, you stayed on Werrd technically until 2016, until Core Co stuff started happening?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, so like up until like Worlds 2016, I was still on Core Co. Just like because I wasn't, still on Werrd. Because like I wasn't doing much like in the way of yo-yos at the time, so it was just like like a background, like sort of existence sort of thing, you know? And Werrd wasn't doing much either. So it was just like, you know, we're just stagnant, kind of hanging out. And then so at Worlds 2016, just hanging out with like Logan and Randy, and the guys who had like split off and started Core Co and just like chilling with them. And he ended up just like giving me a t-shirt.
Is it Worlds 2016?
Yeah, Worlds 2016, the first one in Cleveland. Handed me a t-shirt and was like, "Are you coming to the team photo?" I was like, "Oh, I mean, yeah, for sure." Like,
it's a cool addition.
Yeah, like it's a fun way to invite me to the squad.
It's a much more old school way than it is now of like
the formal, awkward like DM.
Well, it's not even formal and awkward when it's a DM, but it's like no one knows each other or meets each other anymore. Right, so it's like. True. Someone on the team is recommending like, oh, this guy's really good. Like, watch this video. And then he does well at PNWR. And they're like, sick, he's on. And it's like, cool. Versus, like you said, you cultivated this relationship for Werrd over the course of several years.
I think like yo-yoing back then was different, though. Like, the personal relationships like felt like a lot more important than they do now. Just because like we didn't have access to like Instagram and stuff to keep in touch.
Yo-yoing's very active, though. And you know, how that became less important in the real world where, you know, people could fake the funk on their resume and get like a really sick job.
Yeah.
Now it's becoming more important again because the internet is so prevalent for you to like really have to be good. And like game. It's, so I don't know. I think yo-yoing it takes a while to catch on, but then as soon as it wants to change, it changes in like, you know, a month. Yeah. It's like someone changes the price point of one yo-yo. They release a yo-yo and it's like, oh, this is $40. Yeah, then everyone's got to do it. So that was Worlds 2016, you said? You got invited to Core Co? That's awesome.
Worlds 2016.
And was their yo-yo out yet already?
We had the standard, which was our...
Do you remember when that got released?
I think that was at Worlds 2016 was when it was originally
I think it was, yeah. Was that with like Yo-Yo Expert or something that came out? That's sick. Okay. That was a big year for Recess, so I was just like so focused on that. Yeah, I do remember that happening though, because a lot of people got one and I was like, these are really good yo-yos. I remember CJ got like a dozen of them to die.
Yeah,
I had them all.
I still have one of CJ's, like just sitting in my work locker.
And I was like, damn, these are really sick yo-yos. Yeah. And then I asked Randy immediately, like, oh, I want to make a shell for them. And then he was like, yeah, let's do it. It's been a minute.
New shell's coming soon.
I was going to say, I just read a comment about that somewhere. Who said that? Was it you or someone else maybe?
I mean, Randy might have talked about it.
Have you seen a photo of them?
I have, yeah. I don't have one handy.
Anything, so
we've got like an aggressive V shape and like...
That's cool.
Yeah. There's supposed to be like some 4A shells in the works too.
And it's just literally you take off the Delrin shell that's on the old standard body and put these new shells on.
Yeah,
do you know how much they're going to run? Like $20 a set or something?
I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know anything firm.
Even if they're $25-$30 a set, that's like still pretty cheap for you to get a whole new yo-yo. Yeah. And like the way that Randy designed the whole hub setup is very stable, so any shell you use is going to be very stable.
Yeah, pretty much. It's super durable too, so like you don't have to worry about
that's
like,
awesome.
The 4A one.
It makes you want to buy a standard to try to get, well, not try to, but so when these new shells come out, I can just pop the new ones.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's like reworking the body a little bit too, so that like the weight distribution or something is a little bit different.
Yeah, Core Co is really sick. I'm excited for more stuff to come out because this year at Worlds, you guys released this yo-yo over here, right? The Qubit, is that what it's called?
Qubit, yeah. We released this guy. It's like a pre-release deal at Worlds. We had some at the Yo-Yo Expert booth.
What does that word mean, Qubit? Do you know? I have no idea.
I think it's like a computer thing. I have no idea. Yeah.
That's a cool yo-yo. It's based off of not completely based off. I'm not going to speak out a term like that because One Drop just released the 1-to-1, which is like the yo-yo that's just as wide as it is tall. And
right, and this isn't quite like it is a little bit wider than it is tall. Yeah.
But it's kind of what's that?
It's like a signature for Patrick Canny, like roughly.
Is it? Okay, I didn't know that.
Like the working name for it was like the Canny Cube.
Damn, that would have been way better.
Yeah, because
it's based off a yo-yo called the Clash Cube, made by Yo-Yo Recreation. Not entirely based off that. The Clash Cube, I think, was smaller. Actually, I know.
Yeah, it was a lot smaller in diameter, but like almost just as wide.
So. Right. But this is a much better version of it, much more playable. Yeah, but still the same experience. Like, because the way that it moves around and stuff, and like gives you that opportunity to do different chopsticks variations and things
big old
like
catch
that.
zone and whatnot. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Fly.
It's just dust. It's not even a fly. All right. And then, so that got released to Worlds. Is that at Yo-Yo Expert and other stores already?
I feel like they may have sold out. I know.
Damn.
I think it was.
What's it called? Let's look it up real quick.
Qubit. Qubit.
Qubit. And it's the Patrick Canny.
It's in collaboration with Scales, designed for Patrick Canny. We were like jokingly calling it like the Canny Cube or like the Remy Rhombus.
The Remy Rhombus.
The Becco box. Yeah.
Okay, it looks like it might be in stock at Yo-Yo Rewind. Oh no, it's out of stock. Wow.
Yeah. These guys moved quick. But that was just like the pre-release run. We've got like a full run coming soon.
That's awesome.
So keep your eyes out at your favorite yo-yo
Damn, y'all did a lot of colors for a pre-release run.
Yeah, well, it was like 2 for Yo-Yo Expert and then 2 for Scales.
Okay.
So,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sweet. And then this other yo-yo. Well, let me talk about real quick before we move on to the next yo-yo. Core Co also has made another really awesome yo-yo called the Alley Cat, right?
Yeah.
Is that what the original one was called too?
Yeah, this is like the Alley Cat and then the Alley Cat like 650B. It's like a reworking of the original Alley Cat.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, do you have like any backstory to how that came about, or like?
So Alley Cats are like the bike race that people do through like cities. They're like generally like pretty reckless. And like
they just don't have a regard for traffic or anything.
Yeah, just like running through red lights and things like that, just to try to get to the finish line as quick as possible. But like Randy's really into bikes and has done a few Alley Cats, so that's like where the name comes from.
It's a great name.
Yeah, it's a good name. The yo-yo itself, like the original one at least, like the hub for it, like fits into like the bike hex nuts or something, so you could use it as a bike tool if you really needed to. So
does it work? Do you know?
It does, yeah. He's used it like on his bike.
He should have made a little video with that, did he? And I just missed it, or
I think he might have, yeah. It might have been on the blog for the.
I'm sure it was. I feel like it had to have been, but that's sick though. So.
So it's like really heavily bike themed, but it's just like a responsive, modern, pocket chin.
That's nice awesome.
Slimline boy.
But it really, I think, standardized the modern responsive yo-yo in a way, because a lot of other brands did it. It predated that one Basecamp yo-yo, right? I'm almost positive.
The Sherpa?
Moonshine and Sherpa, yeah.
I think so, yeah. I'm not positive.
Was it early 2016 that the Alley Cat came out? I forget.
Alley Cat, I think was early 2016. Might have been like 2017.
I don't know. Regardless, because Sherpa and Moonshine also played a part there. It's,
like they were all coming around roughly
exactly.
At the same time. I think Walter was the first one.
But I think, when little brands have success with yo-yos like that, it's almost more, I don't want to say crucial in our industry. It makes a bigger impact because people think like, oh, they can do it. I can definitely do it. And
I remember like throwing back to Werrd, like when we made the Sentinel, it felt like a bunch of companies after the fact made like that giant diameter.
I didn't even think about that, but that's a great point. Yeah,
another one of like Randy's.
And now yo-yos, go ahead. Sorry, another one of Randy's.
Randy's brainchildren. Yeah, just like
right. Mark Allen's pro model, right?
Yeah.
Sentinel?
Yeah.
Everyone look up Mark Allen. I don't know when I'll ever interview Mark Allen for a Goods episode. He's a busy guy. He's got an adorable kid, beautiful wife, a lovely family. But
Jesse.
Child Jesse. Do you remember his kid's name? I don't know his kid's name. Wyatt, yeah. Beautiful kid, lovely family, but he doesn't like to talk a lot, even to people he really loves and hangs out with a lot. Not a man of many words. He does talk a lot, but like just selective with what he says. So like it would be hard to get an hour and a half out of him. The conversation
for sure. So I feel like if you talked about like I forget what it's called, like the measuring
quantum physics.
He does like a very specific like scientific measuring. I forget what it's called.
I don't know, but that's like his job, or was his job for a long time, like calibrating these crazy machines that were measuring
like
stuff.
a 1/1,000,000th of a millimeter.
That's so insane. Yo-yo players are such interesting people.
Yeah, that's such crazy.
So Randy designed his yo-yo, and
it felt like shortly after that, like Cliff came out, and then like I forget there was another like
Cliff Peter Kafka's yo-yo with Caribou Lodge.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of like really big diameter yo-yos that came out like shortly after Sentinel. Cliff is the only one that I like remember.
And then I forget where we were in the timeline.
Talking about like how like small yo-yo manufacturers can influence like big changes.
Right, yeah. Yo-yo. And to do with the alley cat, right?
Right, yeah. Like the modern tug responsive yo-yo.
Yeah, because now Drew and I were talking about how crazy it is because there's a lot of people that are releasing yo-yos like that just as their passion project. Like, oh, yeah. I'm a serious yo-yo enthusiast. Like, I'm going to drop a couple $1,000 to make a yo-yo. Like, I'm going to make this super high wall, 55 millimeter, mostly responsive. Like, if you put a large unresponsive bearing in this, it's basically going to be useless.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I spilled shit.
It's okay. But it's crazy how that's a thing right now that people can kind of comfortably do, and you're like, I could sell through these no problem. Like even if I made a couple hundred of them, I could probably sell.
The market is big enough to sell like 50 of these things. And like,
but people genuinely enjoy when it's something that people are making that is promoting a type of yo-yoing that isn't purely competitively driven.
Yeah.
Because even though a large majority of the yo-yo community doesn't care about competing, like they'll notate, oh, Gentry won Worlds and this person won Nationals or whatever.
I think it's like, it's not that they don't care. It's just that it's like, it feels so out of reach and like so far away from them. It's like almost the same as like, I play poker, but like I'm not World Poker Tour, you know? So like, I don't care who won World Poker Tour because I'm like, I'm not at that level yet.
But previously people used to design yo-yos that were just based off of that. It was like, okay, it has to be like, even though the majority of people aren't competing at that level, like you said,
everybody wants the
imagine.
Competition throw.
Yeah, or that's how all the manufacturers felt like you had to make the yo-yo.
Right.
And even if it was small, you'd make up some kind of junk science of like, oh, we made the wall this angle and the weight this way, so it's better.
The snake oil explanation on why the design works or whatever.
And now you can make like the Cubit, and like that's an amazing fucking yo-yo. And does Patrick use it on stage, do you know?
I don't.
Okay. But even if he doesn't, like, that's still dope. Like, there's skateboarders now that are designing footwear that is just like lounge footwear or dress footwear. And it's not like, because people subscribe to more than just like, oh, this guy is really sick at kick flipping 150 stairs. It's like, he's a dope person. Like, what else is he into? What does he dress like? Like, and, you know, people do that in yo-yoing without necessarily being conscious of it.
No, for sure. I mean, like, when I first started yo-yoing, I had, like, zero sense of style.
Exactly.
Like, I learned clothing through yo-yoing.
Like, I remember G used to wear a lot of track jackets.
Yeah, there's that one green, like, Gap track jacket.
It's like solid. You could probably rock that now, though.
Yeah, it's come back,
That's what I was saying.
If I still had it, I think I probably donated that guy. Like,
that's hilarious. I probably would have saw it at the Goodwill and been like, this is so tight.
Yeah, it had this like patch on it. It was, like,
I'm gonna get John to embroider a caterpillar on the front of it.
The hungry caterpillar.
That's dope. So
terrible bowl cut. Yeah.
I'm not gonna
the straight like Lego block hair. Yeah. No, I looked funny back in the day.
But it's cool that yo-yoing has come to a point now where people are more open-minded and like, all right, you're gonna make this responsive yo-yo, cool. I like throwing responsive, so I'm gonna try it. That like it's easier for everyone to approach different types of yo-yoing, different types of yo-yos, different types of yo-yo players, instead of just like, oh, this guy who's the best and the best on stage is like without a doubt.
Yeah. And I mean there's definitely an audience for that as well, but like I feel like definitely nowadays, like the yo-yo market's very diverse in like what the focus is on like the product.
That's
like
a great
not
point,
everybody's like out here to make the competition yo-yo, to make the longest spinning. Like, because I feel like we figured that out. You know what I mean? They all spin longer than you.
Every yo-yo plays pretty well.
Yeah.
So you should make something you actually enjoy and want to play with versus like something that you just think everyone else is really gonna like.
I mean, there's a time and place for a competition yo-yo for sure. But
everyone makes them, but I don't know.
Yeah. That's not my daily jammer.
Yeah, and I feel like it's almost, I don't want to say harder, but like it's definitely way harder to design something like the Cubit or the Mothra, which we'll talk about in a second. That's a little more geared toward a specific type of like fun style of play or like not competition driven. The right player could use those in a competition and on stage, but it's like you'd have to be specifically tuned to use those, or your style would have to be specifically tuned in a certain way. You
and that's not just it. Like all these yo-yos nowadays are like perfectly fine for competition. Exactly, so it's just like if that's what you got used to, then
there's a really great quote about it. I can't think about it now, but it basically talks about like, you know, the professional isn't defined by their equipment, or like, you know,
poor craftsman blames his tools.
That's exactly what I was trying to say. That was what I saw. Yeah, poor craftsman blames his tools. Yeah.
I mean, Jeffrey's winning on a $14 replay. Like,
he has. Exactly. And I fuck with that sentiment so hard. And like, I don't know. Yeah. People talk more about that when I won Worlds than I did or do now. It's like, it's
did it on a freehand.
Yeah, so it was like a $20. Yeah. It wasn't stock. It was silicone recessed, but it was like basically what you would. It's basically what a
stock reset or stock freehand
first base is. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's basically what a first base is now, just more slimline and
with a weirder weight distribution.
Yeah, a much weirder weight distribution. Exactly. So. Yeah, it's just cool where yo-yoing is right now. And I don't know, standard shells coming soon, which are awesome.
Yeah, allegedly. I mean, I gotta confirm.
I've read that by someone else that wasn't you that said that recently. So Randy, I'm sure he'll watch this, or people are gonna watch this.
Comment down below, Randy.
Or people who are watching this that have Randy's phone number, text him.
And
then he'll be like really bummed out for one day, and the next day be super motivated and be like, "Word, let's go get this yo-yo. Let's go make these shells." I know the design's done, Randy. Just press the go button. Send the email. Word. And then this other yo-yo, which I swore was out already, but maybe it's not. The Mothra, right? This black yo-yo.
Yeah. So we've had this guy. We've had this guy in production for a minute.
But it's been done.
Yeah, manufacturing
I feel like I've
issues
seen like Drew Tate's like with the cat artwork with the string thing around it edition.
That was on a.
It was on a Alley Cat too, but I swear it was on that. Anyway, maybe Randy just made like a prototype or something. Anyway, doesn't matter.
It could have been on like a Deasis too, that like capped yo-yo we made.
A capped yo-yo.
Yeah, we released like a small number of like these like aluminum yo-yos with like press fit caps on them. That had, like we did one for like Sebi.
Oh, that's right. Sarah. When did that come out?
2017.
And they're definitely gone already. You probably can't get those anywhere, I'm sure.
I think Randy might still have some, honestly. I'm not sure.
Well, again, if Randy sees this,
yo-yo
stores will want them, especially after this episode comes out.
For sure. So. Like there was an unknown edition that I know of. Like,
is that the black one with the
with like the dazzle? Or no? Well, that one was Anthony Rojas, I think.
Okay.
The unknown one was like a dazzle camo on it. It's just like some World War I like boat camo, which is just like a bunch of jagged geometric lines and stuff.
That's super awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
So what's up with the Mothra ones that come out?
Ask Randy. Yeah, I don't know. We had a run, just like manufacturing issues happened.
It's a big yo-yo. It's hard to make big yo-yos that have interesting weight distribution because, you know, it's just difficult. The machine, like if you run the machine really fast and the material starts vibrating, like the yo-yo isn't going to maintain the concentricity throughout it. So you have to have like a really experienced machinist running it, and like there's just a lot of physics and things behind it that are difficult.
This shit is complex.
But yeah, so it's an awesome yo-yo though, and I love how it doesn't really have the rim weight is like super. It's not just like a standard yo-yo where it's all the way out towards the rim. It's kind of halfway between the outer rim. And then
we made it for Spencer Walker. So like if you 44 Moth on Instagram, like his tricks are
44 Moth.
Mothra, real unique. Yeah, it's the Mothra 44 Moth.
And it's now that you mention that, he has like a very wispy style. Like I love his yo-yoing.
It's really geared towards his yo-yoing.
Right. He doesn't have like his tricks are dense, but it's not like he's doing tricks that have like 6 layers of string where like he needs a yo-yo that has like a super wide gap. Yeah. It's like this is super wide, but it's like not obnoxious. Like it's
you still get those nice tight snappy binds off of it.
Yeah. I really like it. I just like yo-yos that aren't super, I don't want to say super wide for no reason, because every yo-yo that's wide is obviously, most yo-yos are good now, like you said. But this one is like tastefully done and like more so geared towards Spencer's style. So I dig it. But that one's almost on, you said too.
Should be done soon, yeah.
So there's like 4 or 5 things on the back
press
burner.
the go button, yeah. Just really gotta press the go button.
It's hard though. Like you gotta decide what's gonna come out, and especially with the holidays coming up, like what's gonna sell, and like because people have money to buy stuff, but like everyone's gonna be releasing stuff, so like it's difficult. You know what I mean?
It's a tough fight out there,
yeah. And you don't know
a lot of players in the game now.
Yeah, and people like everyone makes good yo-yos, like you said, but when you have so many different designs, it's like, especially like if you were to release another standard, are new people gonna buy it? Like, because the yo-yo community changes every couple of years, so like the new community might not be as familiarized with it, and then
the standard is a risky one too, because like you're machining like extra parts,
4 or 5 different parts. Yeah.
It's so, not just like
the hubs, the Delrin part on the outside, the Delrin shell,
a lot of variables on that.
Yeah, so it's hard to get smooth, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Do you know anything else Core Co has on the horizon?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just these 2 right now. Randy's a busy dude. Doesn't even answer us sometimes, you know?
But he does all the designing for this, or a lot of it. I'm sure Logan helps a lot, but like, you know, he does that and he communicates with the factory and like
he's pretty much like spearheading all of this. Like we're kind of just in the background.
So it's a lot to undertake, and it's not just I'm there. I feel you, Randy. It's a lot for me to undertake too, being the only person taking care.
No hate to Randy at all.
No,
love you, Randy. Like thank you so much for everything.
But I definitely feel you on that, where it's like shit. So you guys should help him out. Try to help him out. I don't know how. It's hard.
Like we got like Martine out in Seattle, like handling a lot lot of the shipping.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Martine's a dope dude. Yeah. See him every time I go out to PNWR or at the library, and I'm like, "What are we gonna do afterwards?" He's like, "I don't know, man."
Probably get some horchata cookies.
Cool. Yeah. Go to Dick's. Get some Dick's. Word.
Do you like Dick's? Did you like Dick's?
Yeah. You don't like the burgers there?
All right. Maybe like I guess they just talked it up too much, and it was just like this is just a burger spot.
Yeah. What else is going on now with you yo-yo wise?
Yo-yo wise, VA States really. That's pretty much all I do now.
So you've been organizing Virginia States for the last 2 years.
Yeah,
with your lovely fiance,
like 2012.
Yeah, and you guys have organized it from 2012 to this last year.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Holy shit! Yeah, so it's like been a minute. 7 years, 8 years, or something like that. Yeah. Holy cow!
I mean, obviously, I have a lot of help from like Sam and Charles and the other guys in like Virginia.
Yeah, it's a team effort, but to be the person kind of undertaking a brunt of it,
right? Like, like I can delegate so much.
That's
but, like,
what I was gonna say.
I'm also just like kind of a control freak in that regard, and like I don't want them to like
fuck anything up.
Yeah, well, it's not even that they will fuck anything. No. It's just like I don't even want to allow the opportunity for that to occur, so I just handle it myself.
And you're gonna only blame yourself, right? Like in those situations, I do the same.
Like I'd rather just put it on me and like it's my issue.
I would have been here to do this. So then, like every time you trust less and less, it's like right. I don't want to delegate as much. I'll undertake more and just work more into the future and try.
And it's not even that like it's hard work, you know. It's just like a lot of like organization and like. Emailing.
It's not easy work for sure.
It's not easy work, but it's not like I'm not physically laboring or anything.
Yeah, no.
I've never broken a sweat on VA States, but it's like
and VA States is like it's a big contest every year. It's the first one of the year normally, so a lot of people go, and it's an interesting section of the Mid-Atlantic region where it's like far enough south for people in like North Carolina, South Carolina. Right, Virginia has a strong scene.
Yeah,
if you're in Virginia and you don't know any other yo-yo players, you should look that up because there's a lot of yo-yo players in Virginia.
First month, January, every year we do VA States.
Word.
But yeah, just like I always joke that it's like right in the center of the Mid-Atlantic, so we get people from like New York and then Florida all like congregating in Virginia.
It's a dope contest every year, and it's been like every year I don't want to say it's ever teetered in attendance or volume or popularity. Like every year it's been a solid.
It feels like it's like either the same or more. Like,
right, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Yeah, the same or more. And it's like, since I've been going, it's always been a big contest. Like every year, 1A has a few dozen people in it, 30, 40, sometimes up to 50 people in it.
Yeah, we had one year where there was like 60 competitors in 1A.
Jesus, Christmas tree.
Yeah.
That's like as many as over nationals or less.
Yeah.
Nationals, I think, had less this year, less than 60.
Right. And then people want to complain about like us using like random beats for like prelims. It's like, yo, I ain't got time to go through 61-minute songs on your CD, finding track 4 and skipping to like minute 140. Like, you know, I just don't have time.
Yeah, and then once you give everyone an inch the first year, they want a mile every year afterwards. So you let one person not pay for registration, they never pay for registration again. You let one person use their phone, 6 people want to use their phone.
Yeah, it really is a slippery slope.
It's a slippery slope being a nice guy and trying to do shit for this fucking community. No, I'm just kidding.
No, like I love yo-yoers. Is like
but it's hard being a contest organizer.
It's hard to like
a number of reasons.
ask for like money and like your music to be on time from friends where you know they're like doing other things.
Yeah, they're struggling. They don't have the money. Or whatever. Like, or they're busy. They can't put the music in time.
Oftentimes it's not even because like Virginia State's is like $15.
It's not an excuse. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Man. There's no real excuse to be like, I didn't upload my music in time. I don't have $15, but. Yeah. Whatever.
But yeah, I mean,
it happens being an event organizer.
You run all kinds of contests. You know what it is.
I deal with all those same things at all in the contest. They're not like mutually exclusive to anyone. Right. And everyone I help out with deals with.
Yeah, and it's not unique, like for sure. It's just
happens to everyone.
Every contest organizer faces the same thing.
Yeah. Are you guys organizing again in 2020 or helping out at least?
I'm slacking, man. Like no.
I mean, what do you mean we're slacking? It's 2019 and we're in October.
So we're like 4 months out or something like that. I usually try to give people like 3 months notice.
That's a good plan. I gotcha.
I'd also give like my sponsors like 3 months notice so they can like figure it out and like budget for it and whatnot in the next coming months. I'm just trying to be as thoughtful as I can to the community. But yeah, no, I need to go talk to my venue and like secure a date and all that. So I'll have more information coming soon. Depending on when you watch this video, it may already be out.
Hopefully sooner than that.
Keep an eye out on the Facebook BST page. I'll probably post a link to our Facebook event page there.
Sorry.
You're good.
Yeah, I wish the yo-yo community was a little more organized and like helpful with one another in terms of like just what we were talking earlier, how loyal you were about trying to get on Werrd and stuff like that. And I mean, I don't think anyone's not trying to help out, but it's just so.
It's hard because everybody wants to help and everyone
has lives.
Yeah, but it's like. Nobody knows what to contribute, you know what I mean? Right. It's like oftentimes when people ask me like, how can I help? Like I'll tell them, you know, I need judges, I need a camera guy, I need an MC, I need registration table. And like people will come back and be like, well, I know a photographer. It's like, I appreciate the photography, but I need judges, a video. You know what I mean? Like, there's good intentions everywhere, but like, if I can't find a space for you and you can't like just tell me what you can do for me, it's hard for us to work together. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And it's hard to instill with people how much of an undertaking the contest is because people just kind of.
They just like you go to a contest and you think like, oh,
from
you
the
get some
outside
judges
looking
and some
in,
music and it's super.
It looks
simple.
very simple, exactly. But then very quickly when you start running it, it's like
there's 100 little things that you forget about.
Yeah, and the running up actual organization, like you said, you never break a sweat. And the day of the contest is really when all the hard work accumulates and comes together because
executing is always the hardest part.
You're just holding everyone accountable and managing like, all right, this volunteer that I asked to do this job, did they actually do it? No? Okay.
And you're always on the clock too because you got to get out of there at like, you know.
Oh yeah, the venue every year at Virginia State's we
run it like right to the
bone. Yeah. What is we got to be out at like 5 or 6 sometimes.
The museum closes at 5, so they're not going to pay somebody overtime and like keep the place open.
The one year we literally were announcing the winners for 1A, and then like we didn't even finish 1A announcements, right?
No, yeah,
we were about to announce 1A, the championship division, the last one, and then the fucking fire alarm goes off. Right. And the first thing I think is like, I swear to God, these yo-yo kids are in here vaping, and they set the fire alarm off, and I swear to God, we're never gonna be allowed back to the children's
they let us
museum.
back one more year after that.
Even though it wasn't a vaping incident.
No, it was just
one
like
was vaping.
Yeah, like a sprinkler alarm had failed or something, and they just like, had to vacate the building for liability reasons.
But we got everyone out.
Yeah, did 1A results in the parking lot, and then went and got a barbecue.
I emceed, yeah. I felt like a true hero that day, evacuating the yo-yo room. Yeah. It's like, everyone, we gotta get out.
Everybody out in orderly fashion.
Yeah, I thought that it was a drill at first. Was not a drill.
No. This is
glad that it wasn't a yo-yoer's responsibility and it wasn't a vaping incident.
Right, yeah. I was actually really worried too. I was like, damn, there goes my venue. Like, next year is going to be a lot more complicated.
Gonna have to have that shit at Pizza Hut next year.
Shouts out to that Pizza Hut though. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. So, I think we tried to talk about Core Co a little more, and you didn't really know what else is going on.
There's really not much else going on. Like new shells, Mothra's coming soon, Qubit's coming soon.
New shells. New shells, Mothra, Qubit. That's crazy because these yo-yos are basically done.
They're basically done. Yeah, the prototypes are done.
Qubit, you guys have already sold a run of, so it's or a small run of, so it's like
we've got production models of both. Just
that's sick. Yeah, so they're ready to go. Yeah, that's awesome. And then the new shell thing. I'm more excited for the new shells than I really love Qubit. Patrick, I didn't know was your yo-yo. I'm sorry. It's a great yo-yo.
Patrick Haney.
I'll put the link in the bio for all future Qubit interests, but and it's sick that Scales kind of is. You said Core Co made it technically, right?
Yeah, so we manufactured it, but it was like in collaboration with Scales.
Yeah. And I don't know all the logistics of it, but it seems like it was more so of a like Scales is taking on the brunt of like selling it, or like at least this initial run maybe.
Right. Well, they're like pushing the marketing on it, and then we're like manufacturing it.
That's so awesome. Yeah. Those guys are so smart. Really the way that they utilize their platform. The float, exactly.
Similar to the float.
But even that, a lot of people know it's a smashing yo-yo, but more people associate it with Scales than with smashing yo-yo. So I think that's really cool. And same thing with Qubit. Like I knew that it was a Core Co yo-yo, but immediately in my head I'm like, oh, it's a Scales yo-yo.
Right.
So I'm stoked. I'm stoked for all the new Core Co stuff. Yeah. They definitely. The Core Co brand is like yo-yoing again. Like we talked about earlier, Core Co was an early adopter of making yo-yos that weren't necessarily 100% competitive focused and more so like this is just a really sick yo-yo with a really sick idea and this is how we're launching our brand, which is really dope to me. Yeah. Like when I launched Recess, we did Joyride, which was like you could compete with it, but like I wouldn't have at the time, even though I tried to. And like Weekend, a lot of people competed with, and a lot of people did well with.
Weekend was a great yo-yo.
Yeah, thank you. And then First Base was like a plastic yo-yo, which is, plastic can be okay, but again, depends on the player.
Right.
But like, Core Co coming out with a standard First Go was very cool to me. Yeah. Right. It's odd, but it says a lot about the brand. You know what I mean? So I'm stoked that all these new releases are coming out are also evident of that same kind of punk rock theology of like, yo-yoing is going this way, but we're going to go this way and like make all these other things.
At Nationals in Chicago, I think it was like the Freshly Dirty guys were like trying to make a VHS tape or something.
Yeah.
And we're all just like hanging out outside the venue and we're like, meet us at the restaurant. Like we don't have any food because like that's more on brand for us than like yo-yoing at a contest. Just like to be at a restaurant, like eating and like. I didn't
even bring up the Core Co food tours yet.
Yeah, Core Co food tours, man.
So every yo-yo contest, if you look up the hashtag Core Co food tours, I'll put a little title in the video. You can see all the things that the Core Co team eats while they're on yo-yo contests. Yeah, I think that's an awesome. You guys should do like a video of it. I think in the past you probably have done it, right?
We probably have. Yeah. Like we just like filmed a video in a restaurant, whatever.
But it's super dope because like that's a side of yo-yo players. Like every yo-yo player loves to eat.
Right.
Every yo-yo player loves to fucking take Instagram photos of what they're eating.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that's not a lame thing. I say that like it's a lame thing. It's totally not.
No.
But it's cool that you've made that part of the brand where it's like, everyone. Go ahead. Sorry.
Because we're like not a very competitive brand. Like,
everyone's there at the contest. Like, oh my god, look who's on stage. This is so sick. Which is a dope way to document it. Then you guys are like, here's the other 80% of the contest. They're at the fucking faux spot, like digging it.
We go to contests like to hang out with each other and like hang out with all the friends. But like the yo-yoing is kind of like background to that. You know what I mean? It's like the reason we're there, but like
It's not the whole reason you're
there. Like, it's what brought us to X city. It's just noise, but we're just going to go hang out in that city.
Right, yeah.
And, like, yo-yoing is, like, taking me to really cool places, you know?
Yeah, that's sick. So. I just love the whole vibe that Core Co has, and, like, the food. I love that, like, we're kind of winding down and talking about Core Co and, like, you know, the food. I just think that's such a great way, and, like, you know, brings it all full circle with Core Co. Like, the yo-yos are very unique, and, like, they definitely were on the forefront of that in the industry, creating, like, a brand around yo-yos that were specifically just shit y'all that thought was cool and making, you know, pushing the industry in a new and different direction and wasn't what anyone else was making. And now, like, your contest coverage, like, yeah, you might cover what is actually going down at the contest here and there. And, like, when
Aaron's sneaker roundup.
That was so dope, too, yeah. And, like, when Yuri finals in 5A or whatever, and if you guys have a 3A player, I think that is Kerfin? No, Kerfin's on Freshly Dirty, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, I think there's, like, a couple players on Core Co that do, like, little contest things
here
and
there. AJ is good. Like,
AJ,
Brett's great.
Right, yeah. Everyone on the team's really good. The players on the team are
Japanese
another great
are all
example,
great too,
yeah. But it's just cool that, the content you guys put out, the yo-yos, everything is just a very different ideology in comparison to yo-yoing. So, do you have anything else that you want to cover? I think we covered most of your yo-yo story, talked a lot about Core Co and the new stuff coming out, new standard shells coming out, Qubit coming out very soon, Patrick Candy Pro Model. I'll put Patrick's freestyle in the bio, also the description. Well, do you remember what place he got at Worlds this year? Was it like 7th or 8th? Or it was top 10, right?
I feel like it was 5th or something like that.
I was positive it was top. It
was
was definitely
favorite freestyles this year.
I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Yeah.
Because it's
worth looking up.
Exactly, it's worth looking up. I'm gonna put it in the bio. Our man's out here working. World Yo-Yo Contest 2019 results. Yeah, if you haven't watched any of Patrick's freestyles in the past, Patrick Canny, go and watch those, because Patrick is super sick. He's one of the most original players out there right now.
Excellent tricks.
Oh my god, where their results energy. Yeah, he got 7th. Wow, that's still super sick. So here's another great example. Patrick got 7th and got a 76, right? But 6th place got 79, which is a decent jump, but not huge, you know what I mean? And then 5th place got 85, which is like a decent jump. But he was the 4th highest placing United States competitor, which is pretty fucking sick. Man. Dude, that's fucking awesome. Patrick's sick. So be on the lookout for Patrick's yo-yo. Spencer's yo-yo. What's Spencer's last name?
Walker.
Spencer Walker.
Yeah.
Spencer Hamilton's another yo-yo player, though. I'm not crazy. Maybe.
We also have, like, Spencer Davis.
Spencer Davis, okay. A lot of Spencers in yo-yoing. And they're all really good. Spencer Walker, Mothra, right? Mm-hmm. He's awesome. So I'll attach his Instagram, I guess, in the description, so you can be on the lookout for it. What else do you want to talk about? Virginia States will be releasing info for that soon.
Yeah, roughly in January.
Yeah, I love to MC Virginia States. It's always a super fun contest.
Yeah, it's a good contest.
Yeah, I think I'll probably wait to do Charles's episode until Virginia States.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Maybe if I come down to Richmond in a few weeks, I'll film Charles's episode. I forget. I was thinking about people to interview for Future Kids episodes, and I had him on the short list, but I wasn't even thinking. I was just like, oh, he's like a good yo-yo historian. Like, he could talk about different years at Worlds, whatever. And then people were like, yeah, and like Chaz pads and blah, blah. And I was like, damn, like, I didn't even think about that.
Like hot sauce.
Like, this guy has...
He had a yo-yo with one drop. There was a Chaz edition project.
That's right, yeah. I forgot all about that. Yeah. So he's had a lot of shit happen. He's done some legendary stuff, for a minute. Like, that's an OG collaboration with one drop that's still, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I wish I had one.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We are in Philadelphia, y'all.
Yeah. It's real out here, man.
It's real out here. All right. What else do you want to talk about, G?
Did you have any other, like, stories that people sent in?
Okay.
I'm curious about those.
Let me bring those up. Alex Kerfman wanted me to ask you about favorite and least favorite VA crew trip.
Least favorite VA crew trip would be the time that you guys scared the shit out of me by, like, hitting the brakes and screaming on the fucking highway.
I wasn't there. Why you saying it?
No, not you. Like, the VA crew guys. It was like Alex Kerfman and Joe and shit.
Yeah. So what did they do? I think Joe told me this story.
I was asleep. Fast asleep in the back of the car, and they just, like, collaborated to, like...
Sam did this to me one time, too. I forgot.
It's a real dick move, y'all.
It's something he does to people when they just are asleep in the car.
It's fucked up. Yeah, so you just, like... slammed on the brake real quick and had everybody scream at the same time. So I woke up fucking frightened. You know what I mean?
Right. Who wouldn't be frightened? Exactly.
It's like, man, I thought I was going to die. I was just like dreaming. And all of a sudden, all the homies are screaming and we're not like, you know.
Has Sam ever told you the story one time when this was like some serious forensic file shit? We're like leaving his house in Danville, driving through the mountains, going to North Carolina States, I believe it was. This was like...
Was that the one that we had in the park?
Summer of 2008. Maybe? Are you
where
sure?
We like ate barbecue in the woods, basically?
That was afterwards, yeah. People were so mad I didn't like pork, and everyone's like, "What the fuck? You don't eat pork?" And I'm like, "I just don't want it. Like, I'm sorry." Yeah, that was really my mistake. Was all these people are trying to feed me deliciously home cooked food that's like a delicacy down there, and I'm like, "Oh, I'll just go eat Arby's." And they're like, "What? Why would you do that?" Like,
I remember somebody calling you an ingrate, and you're like,
"I'm an ingrate." That was Sebastian.
You're like, "I'm an ingrate because I want to eat in air conditioning."
Yeah, I was a little asshole. I'm still a little asshole.
No, I agree with you, honestly. I was just too much of a pussy to say anything.
You don't have to agree with me. It's okay.
I didn't want to eat fucking burnt meat in the woods either. It was hot out there. It started raining, too.
If that was me now, I'd totally eat burnt meat in the woods. I at least would have eaten a bunch of potato rolls. So that was your least favorite VA crew trip memory?
Yeah, when they scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, Sam did that to me one time, and then another time, and like this isn't his fault, but we were driving through the mountains down to North Carolina from Danville in Virginia, and like some car was like we were, you know how fucking fast Sam loves to drive. So we were just doing like
85 or some shit.
Yeah, it was like a ridiculous amount over the posted speed limit. It might have been like 55, and yeah, we would have been doing like 70 or whatever. And then a guy just on our ass, and it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. Like Sam's mom, who was like an overnight nurse, got home and then like woke us all up and was like, "All right, it's time for you boys to leave. Like you're gonna beat traffic in the morning." And like we all hop into Sam's fucking hatchback Ford Focus as he was driving.
He totaled that recently.
He totaled it? He still drives that same car?
Well, not anymore. He totaled it like 3 days ago.
Rest in peace.
That guy took us all over the country.
I know. I was in that car a lot too. Damn.
Gotta get another yo-yo radio sticker for his new car.
Shit. Well, damn. I feel like I gotta interview Sam now.
Yeah, it's a historic yo-yo whip.
Yeah, historic yo-yo whip.
That and the ramen tour whip. Like, it's the two most famous yo-yo cars.
Damn, I'll have to go down and interview Joey about ramen tour. That would be a hilarious interview. Awesome. Yeah. And then what was your favorite? Oh, so let me finish the Sam story. Yeah, we're just driving in the mountains and this fucking car is just tailing us the whole time and like almost ran us off the road a bunch of times. And like, I still to this day don't know. I mean, you know, they can't explain why some car is driving behind you and almost pushing you off the road, but it was fucking insane.
Country roads, man.
I guess what it was. Like country shit. So what was your favorite VA crew trip though?
Probably when we went to nationals. Yeah, it was like me, Sam, Alex. We all like
went to Chico.
Yeah, Chico. I didn't fly out with them, but like I met up with them, crashed in the same room. It was just like the squad out in Chico.
That's awesome.
That was the year I made finals. I think Sam won that year.
2011 or 2012.
Something like that.
That's
and
awesome.
Then Alex Kerfman made
final
podium
in 3A or something.
I think he got third or something. Yeah.
Damn, that's a dope year for you. Because you have like a little VA crew.
Right, because like, we'd all been yo-yoing together all year. And like we flew out to nationals and like all took home hardware. And like that was like
damn, you finals, Sam wins, Alex gets third. Like that's a heavy, like if y'all were a legit like company, that would have been a serious like
it would have been a good turnout.
Squad showdown. Yeah, like that's fucking sick.
Yeah, it was cool. Damn. That was like peak Virginia yo-yoing.
Good times, Peak Virginia yo-yoing. There's a lot of people yo in Virginia now, though. So
like, there's still a lot. We're just not very like organized, you know. Like
no one is in yo-yoing. I wish that it was cooler to be organized now. It is, but it's like Scales is like literally over several fucking countries. Yeah, and it's like ran over Skype and stuff, which is dope. But it's just like
like I live 20 minutes from Sam. And I haven't seen him since VA States last year. Like it's just he's a busy guy.
Is he married yet?
He's married. He's
Did you go to his wedding?
I did, yeah. His wedding was... Word. It was in a brewery. Yeah.
In a brewery? Sam got married in a brewery. That's awesome.
The back warehouse area of a brewery. It was pretty cool.
Word. Dude, Core Co. Word. I say Word a lot, but it was a dope company. Core Co, Word, Virginia yo-yoing, Charles. Charles is like an entity of its own.
He's a character,
He's
man.
a character.
Yeah.
I love Charles. I love hanging out with him. Yeah. Every year since I moved back to the East Coast, we get like a little closer, and I love it every year where it's like, oh man, him and I like get a little tighter. So it's like...
He's a homie, man. He's like first yo-yo friend. He got me
it was super dope last year when I did that little tour in Virginia and stayed at his house for a week, and I was just like, oh man, I got to hang out with his mom and him and like
they're super
just chill. Yeah, and they're like super into like their life and like what they do, and it's dope.
Yeah, like
Virginia crew. That's why I got the Virginia crew tattoo. Well, not the crew, but I got a Virginia tattoo because does Charles have a Virginia tattoo? We should all get one. Yeah. I should get mine relined and all y'all.
I think his only tattoo is like...
He has the anti-yo heart. He has Woodstock.
Yeah, Woodstock on his wrist.
I swore he had another tattoo, but I guess not.
He's got a lot of piercings.
A lot of piercings.
He dyes his armpit hair a lot.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else you want to cover before we wrap this bad boy up? Pause.
No, that's it. Did you have any more like questions or stories from the...
No, I think that's it. Let me see. Charles told me a couple that I don't know if we may or may not cover.
Yeah, he's got the embarrassing ones for sure.
Yeah, a couple that he told me, he's like, I don't know if you should bring these up or not. Yeah, I don't want to bring any of these up. These are all very R-rated.
Like getting trashed at Worlds and shit.
Yeah, you and Austin and his friend getting lost in a car in Richmond.
Oh, yeah. That has very little to do with yo-yoing, but...
Right, yeah, which is, not a reason not to talk about it, but, just a little bit too much to talk about on this podcast and just yet.
That's some, like, real-life homie shit. Not
in
just,
the
like,
future, I'll get a little more R-rated and maybe... In the future...
Throw smoke at it.
Yeah, throw smoke at it. That's what I want to do in the future for, like, at contests, get, like, a couple different mics and get mad people set up on mics and just have, like, a whole story cipher going where we all talk about, like, the crazy stories together.
That'd be sick. Like, it's just a roundtable discussion about all the crazy shit we've got.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So, awesome. You think we're good? Think we should wrap it up then?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Awesome. Thank you again, everyone, for watching. Make sure you like if you like it. If not, go jump off a bridge. Damn. Yeah, dog, it's really like that out here. I put a lot of effort into these, and if you don't care, I don't really fuck with you.
Straight up.
So, yeah, like the video, subscribe. Hope to see you guys next time. If you have a guest you want me to interview, leave a comment down below. I'll try to make that interview happen in the future. I have a lot of cool ones lined up. We're going to Mass States next month. Not next month. Well, next month, yeah, this is right now, September 29th. So next month, we're going to Mass States. I'm going to interview Eric Koloski.
Fuck yeah.
Hopefully before then, I'll get to interview Coffin. So it's slowly building up. Yeah, you're from Virginia. I already got Drew from Georgia. We're encompassing
the entire coast is being covered.
I mean, it's all East Coast boys. You're right. But
we'll get out west soon.
Trying to get out west, yeah. It's hard with the yo-yoing thing, and I try
We need to get Audible on this so they can pay for our flights out west.
Yeah, I just don't want it to be, over Skype. I don't want it to be like a weird via to the computer. Right. I want it to be a live, interactive conversation. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank everyone again for checking us out. Make sure you leave some comments for suggestions on future guests. Peace.